Hey friends, it's Steve English. It's Sunday. It's time for another installment of Serenity Sunday. So last Sunday we talked about the definition of serenity. Also talked about how in our life we can measure that serenity. You know, how peaceful and calm are we at any given point, or even at the end of the day, kind of take that inventory. So I recommend you go back to that previous video if you're at all interested in that, and maybe some of this doesn't make sense. But I think on its own, what I'm about to say will make sense. So in the topics that I want to cover, I talked about definition of serenity, how to measure serenity, also what takes the serenity from our life, so what's removing that serenity, and then finally some ways to increase that serenity in our life. So today it's the things that take that serenity. There's really 5 things that I want to talk about, and I'm going to break them into 5 separate series in the future. The first one is busyness, and you can see how if you're constantly moving from item to item in your day and running from task to task or place to place or person to person, you really don't have time to kind of step back and reflect and say, wow, these are good things that are happening in my life. Then the next thing is worry. And worry manifests as things where we look back at a decision we made and we say, wow, something can go wrong with that, right? We're worried about decisions, or second guessing ourselves, things like that. That can take our peace pretty substantially if that's occurring to us throughout the day many times. Then another thing is fears, and fears crop up in the moment, right? Like, let's say you're driving down the road you're in the highway, and all of a sudden you see a state trooper behind you. Now you got that fear of, I'm gonna get a ticket and get pulled over. And the last 2 that I mentioned are really looking forward, like looking into the future, like worried about something in the future. Fear is in the future, and fear can manifest in the moment, but we could be worrying about something happening. Then the last 2 items are really about the past. And that's going to be shame, which is, we did something a long time ago and we really feel bad about it, or regret. And regret isn't so much about the feeling, it's more about, well, what path did it now take me on, right? So I regret buying this car, for example, right? The payments are too big, or anything like that. And so it's a little bit different than shame. So those 5 things, right? Busyness, worry, fear, shame, and regret all really take us away from having that peace in our life. And in the next video installment, we'll talk about, worry in a little bit more detail. Anyhow, I hope you have a wonderful day, and this week is great. So take some time today to find that serenity. And I look forward to another installment coming up.